This tutorial will be intense because in it you will learn to be consistent with your verb tense when writing stories. Do you notice anything wrong with this paragraph? They hiked through the pine forest and breathe in the fresh air. It was cool and relaxing, and they feel happy to be away from the city. This is a classic example of tense jumping. Some of it has been written in the past tense, and some of it has been written in the present tense. When writing stories, it's important to be consistent. Either write in the past tense or write in the present tense. Don't keep switching between the two. When we talk about the tense something is written in, we are referring to the time at which the action takes place. For example, you might be writing as if the event has already happened. This is called the past tense. Victoria walked towards the haunted house. Or you might be writing as if the event is happening at that very moment, which is called the present tense. Victoria walks towards the haunted house. The only difference between the two sentences is the way in which the verb has been written. The past tense is typically formed by adding the suffix ed to the base form of the verb. For example, walk becomes walked, play becomes played, and jump becomes jumped. However, it doesn't always work this way. In English, some verbs have their own unique past tense forms. For example, the present tense of go doesn't become goed in the past tense, it becomes went. Swim isn't swimmed, it's swam. And eat isn't eated, it's ate. And fly isn't flied, it's flew. Verbs that don't follow the ed pattern are called irregular verbs. There are plenty of irregular verbs like this to learn, but don't worry, with practice you will remember them. Furthermore, if you do happen to use the wrong word in your writing, it will sound strange when you read it aloud. I braked the plate. The tense of a verb can also be created with the use of a helping verb, also called auxiliary verbs. The verb to be is an example of a helping verb. Walking can be made into the present tense by using the words am, is, and are. I walk, I am walking. She walks, she is walking. We walk, we are walking. They walk, they are walking. To put it into the past tense, we need to use the words was and were instead. I walked, I was walking. She walked, she was walking. We walked, we were walking. They walked, they were walking. You will notice that in both the present and the past tense, we use the word walking. The only thing that changes is how we use the verb to be. Sometimes it's important to use the present tense. For example, if you were writing an information page about a grizzly bear, you would describe it in the present tense. Grizzly bears are omnivores, which means that they eat both plants and animals. Writing it in the past tense doesn't seem to make sense. Grizzly bears were omnivores, which means that they ate both plants and animals. You would only use the past tense if the animal you are describing is already extinct. However, when writing stories, I'd recommend that you stick not to the present tense, but to the past tense. Let's go back to that original paragraph. They hiked through the pine forest and breathe in the fresh air. It was cool and relaxing, and they feel happy to be away from the city. Let's change those verbs so that it is all in the past tense. They hiked through the pine forest and breathed in the fresh air. It was cool and relaxing, and they felt happy to be away from the city. That's much better. So, from now on, make sure that you don't jump tenses. Be consistent. When writing your stories, I'd recommend you stick to the past tense. Also, become more aware of all those irregular verbs that form the past tense in unusual ways. Try to notice them when you are reading.